If I can impact them and help them, they're going to reciprocate that, or the universe will, from that direction or another. Think about giving first, over-delivering first, and the abundance is bound to come your way.
Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to Love Gangster. I'm your host, Adrian Boysel, and today I have an amazing interview, another amazing interview with an even more amazing guest, Mr. JaMarr John Johnson. What's up, brother? Good to have you here.
Good to have. Thanks for having me.
You too. All right, so we just met here at the AI Marketing World. What brings you out here?
So I'm actually one of the speakers. I'll be showing people how to use humor in their business despite AI.
Wow. Okay, so despite AI, this is an interesting angle.
Yes.
So everybody's here to learn about AI. And you're kind of taking the, what do they call it, contrarian approach.
Yes, absolutely.
To the whole thing. So can you dive in a little bit deeper?
Well, absolutely. So everyone uses AI in their business to some degree or another. Some people are trying to figure it out. Some people want to figure out how to use it more. Yeah. But what I like to remind people is to not forget about the human elements of yourself. Think about your most impactful moments you've had in your life. They were either really sad, they were really angry, or they had laughter involved. If you can figure out a way to systematically add more laughter into the lives of the people that you impact, you're going to have a bigger impact.
You kind of incorporate that, I'm guessing, the laughter and the joy probably into your talks.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we're going to have fun tomorrow.
Absolutely.
Is it tomorrow?
It's tomorrow.
Okay, cool.
Day 2.
I'll make sure I'm part of that. Okay, so tell us about a little bit of your background. How did you get here? Where are you from?
Absolutely. So I'm originally from New York City, and at the tender age of 18 years old, on my birthday, I was actually speaking for a nonprofit called Facing History.
You were speaking
at ourselves.
18?
Absolutely.
Wow.
Double-breasted, pinstripe, blue suit, navy blue suit. I got to meet Kofi Annan, and my first time on stage was in front of about 2,000 people. Luckily, the lights were so bright that I couldn't see any of them, but we prepared for about 6 weeks, and I had a talk that I gave about my experience with that nonprofit organization, and I naturally infused a little bit of humor into my talk. My opening line was, "Today happens to be my 18th birthday. I'm an avid chess player, and I'm searching for Bobby Fischer. Has anybody seen him?"
Oh, that's so great. I'm a chess player myself, so I resonate with that. Even my crypto company, our NFT collection is chess pieces.
Wow.
So it's strategy, right? I'm very much a strategy. Everybody here is chasing the next AI tool and tactic. I'm like, no, guys, we need to go back to the fundamentals.
Fundamentals always.
So you're a relationship guy,
Absolutely.
a connection guy.
Absolutely.
What are the fundamentals that people are missing? And they're going to be compounded now with AI, right? What are some of those things that people are missing?
Yeah, so what I would say is a lot of people are trying to go wide when they really should be focused on is going deeper. So one of the things that I teach, I have a course and a book that I call Super Connecting. On LinkedIn Learning, I've trained about 180,000 people thanks to automation, and my video is just playing organically. But I teach people to go deeper. And one of the ways you can do that is by a simple process called FORM. Family, occupation, recreation, and motivation.
Family, occupation, recreation, and motivation.
Exactly. So a lot of people easily get to, okay, where you're from, what's your family, right? What do you do, right? What do you do for fun? But very few people ask the deeper question. What motivates you? What inspires you? What encourages you to wake up every day? In my case, because I love what I do, I wake up with no alarm clock, just on a mission to try to impact as many people as I can before I go.
Man, that's amazing. One of the questions that I learned probably 2 or 3 years ago, started asking in interviews and in consultations, and they say a question well asked is a problem half solved, right?
I love that.
The question that I was asked, and I've been asking other people now, it's like just such a valuable question is, what breaks your heart in the world?
Wow, well, I can answer that for you. Homeless teenagers and veterans who don't think they have somebody to call upon before they take their life. 22 veterans commit suicide every day in this country. And it's because of lack of care, lack of attention, lack of community. So for me in 2025, I really put a lot of emphasis on building stronger communities, both online and offline.
Man, that's amazing. You did time in the military.
14 years.
14 years.
Yeah.
What was your rank at the top?
I left as a lieutenant, so an 03 in the Navy, but I started as an enlisted.
You're a Navy guy?
And Marine.
And Marine.
Started in the Marine Corps first, followed my father's footsteps.
That's an interesting transition.
And then I got a college scholarship, and while I was in college, I realized I was extremely smart, and so I switched to the Navy.
What did you do in the Navy?
I was a surface warfare officer, and on my ship specifically, I was the anti-submarine warfare officer.
Dude, that's freaking amazing. So at 17 myself, I joined the Navy because my grandfather did 28 years in the Air Force. So I wanted to do the military, but I wanted to fly planes. That was my thing. And I'm like, what cooler place can you, what cooler thing is to fly a plane on the freaking deck of a ship that's moving the opposite direction, rocking and rolling, and it's a quarter of the size of a regular lake. Like, come on, like that's the
They
ultimate.
call bad arse.
Yeah, you bad arse. I like that. I like that. So unfortunately, I went through MEPS, passed everything except for my hearing, and they're like, "Sorry, bud, we can't let you in." This is like right after 9/11, 2004, 2003, in that time period, and I was so devastated. I was like, "Dude, now what am I going to do with my life?" And that's when I found entrepreneurship. So you go from military, getting on stage at 18. How old were you when you joined the military?
I joined it right at 18. I literally turned 18, graduated high school, joined the military, turned 19 before I graduated Marine Corps.
So you were already public speaking, and then you started.
Yes.
Then you were in the military already, and so now you're what, full-time entrepreneur?
Full-time entrepreneur, speaker, comedian, author, course creator, NFT builder. I've
You have
done,
NFTs
I've
too?
done some projects in the comedy space with NFTs.
Dude, that's freaking amazing. We have a lot in common.
A lot in common.
Okay, so kind of tell us a little bit about it, because I want people to understand your past. I want to know what they're working on right now, and then we'll go to the future.
So, when I was 25, I was an officer in the Navy at this point. I discovered stand-up comedy for the first time live. And I immediately saw the confluence between public speaking and what comedians did. And at that point, I also resonated with their stories. I saw how they were able to take pain and suffering and transmute that through their bodies and through their senses of humor and turn it into something positive for other people. And I looked at all the pain that I had ever gone through in my life, and I realized I can purpose that pain now. And I started the journey. So December 2005 is when I started pursuing the art of stand-up comedy. And 4 years into my career, on a random OkCupid date in Oakland, California,
No way.
I saw Dave Chappelle when he first got back from Africa.
What?
He performed for 6.5 hours. And he actually read my comedy business card on stage. And at that moment, I knew I was on the right path.
It was a defining moment, right?
That was what you call a super connecting moment.
super connecting moment. I like that, and that's your book, right? Super connecting.
Yeah.
So tell us about the book. What inspired this?
Yeah, so what inspired this book in particular was in 2018, I was in pursuit of something called the World Championship of Public Speaking. It's an annual competition held through Toastmasters International.
Oh, okay, yeah, Toastmasters.
And I also realized that by pursuing that, I also found like a cheat code for developing more material faster. Most comedians, they'll go and sign up for an open mic somewhere in the country, and they'll wait for hours, and they'll watch other comedians perform, and there's no actual audience. And so you're not actually getting feedback on the most important thing that you need, which is what makes something funny is what the audience is willing to laugh at. How you deliver it, how you say it, your mannerisms, your facial expressions, all of that matters. Well, if you're doing an open mic for other comedians, that's not the proper place to train. And so because I was from the military, I realized it's just like a boxer has to spar, a comedian needs to spar with an actual live audience. And so I realized that I could go to Toastmasters, work on my craft as a comedian and as a speaker at the exact same time while pursuing a prestigious trophy that only like, 65, 75 people have ever won. So I went after that, and in doing so, I ended up being a member of like 8 clubs at the exact same time, committing to showing up every week, not just to give your own talks, but to help other people develop their own talks. So I started coaching people back in 2018 in the art of public speaking, and of course, sprinkling a little humor on top of that. And at one point, I was bringing friends to a club, and everyone knew me there. And it's like, man, everywhere we go, we know everybody. Like, you're some sort of super connector.
Got it.
And then I realized that all the things that I had been doing in my comedy career to build my connection, my fan base, I like to call it my community base, right?
That's right. That's it.
And doing that and transferring those skills over into business, I realized that was a specialized art form called business development, which is actually a lost art form.
It is.
A lot of companies overlook that area. And developing business is about developing relationships.
That's the whole thing.
And so
Literally why I'm here.
I basically wrote the book in about 2 weeks, but then it took 6 years before I actually felt like I was worthy enough to share the message with the world for a lot of reasons. I was playing double dutch with certain concepts, certain things I talked about in the book were changing so rapidly because technology.
So level of perfectionism.
Level of perfectionism, but also a level of did I feel worthy? And I had to come to terms with that. And then guess what? The pandemic happened.
Oh my gosh.
and life shifted even more. And I was having a lot of success being a super connector. And I was like, I'm being greedy holding on to this. And so I got approached by someone in my network to coursify aspects of the book on LinkedIn Learning. And organically, it's trained about 170,000 people since 2021.
How many people? 170,000?
170,000 people and counting. Fortune 500 companies have my course in their onboarding processes. But what finally was a turning point was I was like, listen, it's now or never. It's never going to be perfect. It's always going to change. And guess what? I can just write an update. So get it out into the world.
So you created and you wrote the whole course, created the content and all that, and then you have somebody else, right? You were distributed
So what actually happened was I filmed for 6 hours in a studio in Santa Barbara. And then they edited down that 6 hours into a tight 54-minute masterclass that lives on LinkedIn Learning.
Yeah, so LinkedIn. So did you have to submit that?
No, I went through a company that actually basically packages and sells hundreds of courses a month to LinkedIn Learning for millions of dollars.
See, that's incredible. See, I don't think a lot of people even know that even exists right there.
They say that a book is like now the modern business card, right? How has that book impacted your career, your income? Like, has that been impactful?
Well, for me, it's a legacy play, right? It's something I'd always wanted to be was an author. And so I actually wrote the book and I had 63,000 words. But at the advice of one of my mentors who wrote a best-selling book and released it the year before I released mine, all his data and research told him that the only reason why he released the book that thick, 223 pages, was because that's what it's required to sit on shelves at bookstores. Most people don't make it past page 26. So I decided to condense the message so that it was more impactful and that people could actually get through the book and take action on it. And so I reduced 62,000 words to 29,000 words. And I put the book out so that it was a little more punchy. And honestly, for me, all the reviews have been great. But, when I go to a speaking engagement and I'm able to add some additional bonus so that people have something to take away, because you can only be impacted so much in an hour.
Yeah, a brain can only handle so much information.
You got to have a little field guide to take away with you so you can refer back to and then take action and then see your results.
So what does the future hold for you? What's the vision? What are you chasing after?
I'm chasing after being. And in being, it's about just like doing the things that bring you joy so that you have energy to put back into the system. I have a concept I call OD4R. Overdeliver in value, what you receive in price. And there'll be 4 byproducts. I call them the 4 R's. The first R is you get to remain your authentic self. That's important.
Yep.
The second R is you have real impact in the lives of the people that you touch. And when that happens, you're going to create raging fans who tell other people about you and refer you business. That's why I'm actually performing at this conference. And then the last R is the most important R that a lot of people forget, is that you got to be ready to receive the abundance that's going to flow back to you for starting the cycle in the first place. And it took me a while to really understand and internalize that. But now I really understand. And so don't block your blessings, receive them, and then know that you are going to be a good steward of that energy and that you're going to continue to put it out into the systems.
I've seen that so much, right? I've come across, I feel like more now than ever, I've come across so many people that are really actually givers. There's a lot of takers out there, but I feel like maybe it's just the circles that we're in and the people that we're attracting in our life, right? We're magnetic when you're operating in that space of gratitude, and you started bringing all these givers. But I noticed that givers seem to be the worst receivers. What do you think that is about?
We operate on conditioning a lot of times. And so if you condition yourself to always give but never receive, then you don't feel worthy of the abundance that comes your way. So you got to make sure you prepared yourself to be a steward of abundance. And so you can manage it when it actually comes.
So for those that are watching, I like to make sure that we challenge them because you dropped a bunch of gems here. Is there something that, one, that they can help support you in, right? And two, what would be a challenge that you would give to them to get them to go out and make somebody's day, somebody's week, somebody's month, somebody's year better? What's a social impact, act of kindness that they can do?
So besides speaking, I also fundraise on a regular basis. The last fundraiser I did, the last 2 actually I'll tell you about. One was called the Red Cross of South Carolina. I helped them raise $306,000 for their sickle cell initiative. So one of the things that they struggle with is having enough donors in the system who actually have had their blood tested so that they can match with people who need it to stay alive. So what I would say is You don't got to do it every quarter, but at least once a year, go out, give some blood, get it checked, because you could literally save someone's life.
Well, it sounds like a two-part challenge.
Two-part challenge.
That's what they can do for you.
And that for your own self, you'll just understand where you are from a health standpoint. But what I would really challenge people to do is think about not just with money, but with time, with creativity and ingenuity, how can you actually go out and impact the cause that you really love?
Because the thing that breaks your heart in the world.
Exactly. And if you can do that, if you find some value in that, and you found some value in what I do as a super connector, go to LinkedIn Learning, watch my course, share it with someone. That's what you could do for me, because that spreads that heart-centered leadership even further.
You guys heard it. Donate some blood at least once a year. And then the second thing, I'm just losing
is go to LinkedIn Learning.
Go to LinkedIn Learning.
You can find me at my website, IamJaMarr.com. You can buy a book. You can gift the book. But Super Connecting is on LinkedIn Learning, and I'm working on part 2 right now, which is going to be Super Connecting in the age of AI. It's how to use the tools in a non-creepy way so that you're not hitting people with messages that seem canned.
Can't remember some of the terms that people are putting out there now, and you can see it's straight out of AI.
Yeah, it's like you got to put some effort into connection, because one relationship, if you've got something of real value, could be worth thousands, if not millions of dollars to your own and their own bottom line. So think about that before you reach out. You have a need, you have desire, but how can I really serve them? If I can impact them and help them, they're going to reciprocate that, or the universe will, from that direction or another. So really think about giving first, over-delivering first, and the abundance is bound to come your way.
So if somebody wants to get to know you more, maybe they want to hire you, right? Maybe a gig or whatever that is, or help you with a course or find you. How do they do that?
So you can find me on LinkedIn, of course, JaMarr John Johnson. That's JaMarr with 2 R's, like a pirate. JaMarr. And then I've Instagram, JaMarr J, JaMarr. And then my website, IamJaMarr.com.
So you got the challenge, donate some blood, check out the book, go to LinkedIn Learning, a report back. We want to have you put it down in the comments, or you'll be swimming with the fishes, capiche? All right, guys, thank you so much for tuning in to Love Gangster. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe button on this video so more people can find out about it, so we can bring more impact to the world. And we'll see you guys on the next episode. Thank you so much.
Love and prosperity.
There it is. Peace, love, and prosperity. God bless. I'm Adrian Boysel, and as always, keep looking up.
Came here to fill the void. I am love. I am peace. I am joy that can never be destroyed. I am love.